What is happening, guys? It is Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving. We're at the Hack and Pack shop. I'm going to go over a few things on one of these Western unimount plows today. I believe the Ultramount is pretty much the same setup when it comes to the actual pump. But this is what we're going to talk about. The plow on my truck, last week it wouldn't go up and down very fast. Actually, it dropped down pretty good, but it wouldn't go up very fast. So what I actually did is I took this motor off of here, and there's a filter down in there, and we'll get to that in a minute. I'm going to show you one of these pumps all tore down. Then I cleaned the filter up and stuff, and it didn't really seem to get much better. So I'm like, alright, and I mean, we're kind of like at the midst of a snowstorm here. I went down and spent $140 and bought a new plow motor for it. Plow motor didn't fix it either. So I'm like, well, what the heck do I do now? Son of a bitch. So I started just kind of casually taking the pump apart. Thank God I had a parts pump. Okay, I had another one minus the ram on the top of mine. Now I'm going to show you this pump here. This is actually the pump and motor that came off of my truck. And this right here is the basically the solenoid packs and the hydraulic unit that make this thing go up and down and make it turn. So I'm going to take this thing apart. First I'm going to show you here, I'm going to take this motor off. I've got everything unbolted. When you take the motor off these, you're going to need, let's see, what size was it here? 16 millimeter, 2 bolts here and here, okay? This right here is actually where the plug goes to fill it. You look down inside of here, you got your pump. Okay, I've already got this unbolted. We're going to pull this out of here. And right there is the filter. Okay, this just pulls right off. You might have to take a screwdriver, I'm using a Phillips, but you take a screwdriver and just kind of wiggle it back and forth, flathead, and that'll pop right off of there, okay? One thing you want to look at is down inside of here, you can see that little bit of gunk. Right down in there. That's just mushy, nasty freaking crap, okay? You want to get these things thoroughly cleaned out. The first thing generally that happens with these pumps though, or with these units, is this filter gets plugged up. So first things first, clean it. Alright, well I cleaned it, put the new motor on it, took all this crap apart, kind of quickly, half-assed cleaned it, threw it back together. The plow went up and down great, but it wouldn't turn. I'm going to try to do all this one-handed here. I just kind of left everything kind of loose. And this right here is the actual hydraulic control unit for this plow, okay? This is where your lines come in. On my particular plow, this is an 11/16 here. The line side is a 9/16, so 11/16 and 9/16 wrench. This here, if I remember right, this one was, I believe, a 7/16 bolt. Okay, there's 3 of them. 1, 2, 3. Okay? You got your solenoids on the outside of this sucker. There's a cover that goes over the top of it, something like yay. Alright? Trying to do all this one-handed, but the cover goes over this and hides these solenoids. Another thing you want to check too is the wiring to these. Okay, I left the cover off of mine just for video purposes here. But if you're looking down from the top, from the front, this is how your wiring should look. White wire on the inside, green wire on the outside. These black and orange wires are both ground wires. Then on the very bottom, on the bottom solenoid, you're going to have a blue, and then on the very inside there's going to be your ground also. Make sure all those grounds are hooked up really well. With this new motor I got, it actually, the ground is right to the motor. Okay, you got your hot here, and this is the ground post on it. Alright, and that's what I did is I actually took and tapped into that harness and actually tied those ground wires there right into this main one, just for like a little bit of a double backup. I mean, you got your hot and your positive, or yeah, your positive and your ground right here. Okay, that actually grounds. I have it wired right directly to my battery on this plug, but I also, like I said, as a backup, I hooked it up there. This right here plug, I think this is a 12 pin in my particular truck. This is for your lights and your plow controls, okay? And you also want to make sure this plug here, everything is clean in here. You're going to want to pop these things apart you know, just unplug it, get in there really good and clean it up with some electrical cleaner. Alright, try to get all those contacts as good and shiny as you can, and then put some dielectric grease in there, and that'll prevent moisture in there, okay? But now we're going to get into the intricate stuff. Because I searched and searched YouTube for a little bit of help with this and couldn't really get anywhere. So I'm making you guys pretty much a one-of-a-kind video on these plows. Okay? Nobody really gets into all this on YouTube. There is a guy that does an isometric plow pump, which is the old cable-driven. Very good video, but unfortunately it doesn't pertain to the ones with the solenoids. Okay? So anyway, you got your solenoids here. You want to make sure these are good and clean too. Okay? So we're going to take these off. Now I am missing a couple parts out of this pump, so we're just going to play pretend a little bit. But you for sure want to make sure this part and inside of here is good and clean. Alright, like this one here looks a little bit corroded. Alright, now there's 3 different valves in here. Alright, there's a single port, a dual port, and a tri-port in here. This right here is your dual port valve. Okay, this helps it turn. That's pretty much what both of these dual ports do. This is a triple port. Same thing, helps it turn. This here, the single port, this helps with your up and down. Okay? There's no parts that are going to fall out inside of here when you take this apart. Just make sure you don't lose your O-rings off of these. They're very important. You want to check the O-rings here, and there's actual plastic sleeves on here too that you want to double check and make sure they're all good. Alright, so I'm going to pop this off of here real quick. Like I said, I kind of left all this loose just for video purposes, and I am missing a couple parts, but we'll get to that in a second. Alright, now inside of here, when you pull this off of here, it's very important. There should be 3 O-rings on this. You got one there, there, and there. This one here, I believe, is just a touch bigger than these two. Okay, very important. You want to make sure these O-rings are in good shape, or the thing isn't going to work at all. Now, as what I did with my particular plow is I got up into here, into these ports, with some brake cleaner, and brake clean the living crap out of it, okay? But now back to the turning end of it. This is where I ran into some issues. Oops, and I just dropped something. Oh, I dropped the bolt. This is where I ran into some serious issues. A friend of mine did come here and help guide me a little bit. We got it a little bit better, and then it went back to the same old thing. You want to make sure you get down in here really good and clean all this. Okay, I'm trying to get the best light possible for you. But right here, behind this screw, and you actually don't have to take this pump apart to get to this, but I would suggest doing so. Behind this screw, there's a valve, and what that valve does is it actually keeps the plow, it's like a safety feature on it. Like if you have the thing angled and you hit a snowbank or hit a telephone pole or a car or something, it's going to allow hydraulic pressure to dump out of these, okay, and it's going to help the plow turn to prevent, you know, bending the plow up or killing somebody or whatever the case is. Alright, so what you want to do is behind here, and this is where you got to be careful because I lost a couple parts out of here. But this is very important. You want to make sure this valve here is clean, okay? Now I'm going to just tip this down a little bit on my bench. Now there should be, when you pull this out of here, and if you look down in here, there should be a ball bearing, okay, which mine is missing, and then underneath that what they call a foot, okay, and then you're going to see a spring that kind of looks like a really thick pen spring. So we're just going to dump this out of here. Like I said, we're missing the foot. And that valve I was talking about is way down inside of here. What I did with this is I cleaned it out with brake clean and then filled it up full of PB Blaster. And then what I did is I just took a block of wood and kind of just tapped on this thing. Not right here, but I tapped on the sides of it, whatnot. Maybe use a wooden hammer or something like that. You don't want to use like a ball peen or steel type hammer because it could damage this aluminum casing. Okay, but this is where my problem lied, was down in here. So make sure this is all clean. Like I said, you could use brake clean, clean it all out, and then what I did is I used some PB Blaster, sprayed the living heck out of it. Then I sprayed WD-40 in there. I seemed to work out really well. I sprayed it down inside of these hose areas here, okay? And you also want to make sure that everything looks kosher in here, none of this is damaged. With these valves, each one of these valves are a little bit different. If you push on this, if the phone will focus, you can see it moving down in there, okay? So what you want to do, like with this particular one, you could just push on it with your thumb. Push on it with your thumb, take some brake clean, clean the living heck out of every single one of those holes in there. Alright, and just kind of move it back and forth. And then what I did is I put PB Blaster in there, did the same thing on repeat, okay? With these valves here, these valves you actually have to get down in there with like a really small Phillips head screwdriver, push down, and it's going to open up where that hole is a little bit and clean the living heck out of all them. Make sure all your O-rings are good. Okay, there's 2 O-rings on this, and then you got your plastic guides. Make sure those are all good. And then same thing with this other valve here. Okay, take a little mini Phillips, you could push down on that, and it's going to open up all these ports, and you want to clean them. On my particular plow, it ended up being this valve is either there's still some debris in it, or it's bad. I'm not sure which, but I mean, if you look at this, you know, it looks like it's a little bit corroded anyway, but it's not terrible. The solenoid was working, and it was making these valves activate a little bit, but it wasn't totally up to par. So if you're having a turning issue with your plow, or up and down, or some kind of an issue, I didn't really per se spend any money on parts other than that unneeded motor. And luckily I had a spare one of these pumps laying around where I ended up, you know, changing out this 3-way valve here. Alright, and then basically to assemble it, basically it's just repeat of what I just did, backwards. Alright, but like I said, make sure when you put this pump back on here that you have all these O-rings. 1, 2, 3. And they're going to mate up right here on this plow block. A lot of times when you take this off, sometimes the O-rings will stick to this. Alright. So I hope this video helps a little bit. For fluid in mine, I just usually run Dextron 6, Dextron 5, whatever you can get a hold of. It seems to work good. You can buy this plow fluid for like $10 or $12 or $14 a gallon. They say it's pretty good stuff. I really don't know. It's basically just hydraulic fluid. That is what's in my plow right now. We'll see how it works out. Alright, and when it's all said and done, I mean, this thing is working the best it's ever worked. And I'm going to show you guys a little, another little thing on this plow too. And you see how fast that turns? It's right on the money. Drop's good also. Now for your drop speed, a lot of people like a soft drop, a lot of people like a fast drop. Right here, this screw, basically is what I did with mine is I turned it all the way in until it bottomed out and then came out 2 complete revolutions. And that's what gives you the drop speed about what I have. If you want a softer drop speed, just go clockwise with this screw until you get your desired drop speed with it. Okay? Another thing too is check all of your rams. You know, make sure there's no real pitting here. Mine is starting to a little bit, and this is a replacement I put on here a year or 2 ago. Alright, you're going to want to get a gasket for this motor, or you can use some RTV or something like that. Also make sure you inspect all of your plow hoses. I know this particular one right there, that's bad. That little indentation there, that's ready to blow. I actually have a brand new hydraulic line for it. Alright, so I hope this video helps you guys a little bit. You know, like I said, this should cover the Western electric over hydraulic style with a handheld remote or the little joystick. This is not for the old cable style plows. Alright, hope this helps, guys. Y'all have a goody-goody. Thank you for watching. We're out of here. Off.